Good morning, everybody. This is Ryan Gilkerson, lead creative here at Company 119, and we thank you for joining us on the Coffee Cup as Cleveland Web Design Week continues. Yesterday, we introduced you to 10 of our favorite websites from around Cleveland and kind of showed you a blog that's kind of like a virtual tour guide of the city by way of the websites that we chose to feature. And one of the sites that we featured is very near and dear to my heart. As some of you know, outside of the Coffee Cup, I'm also involved in the music industry in the Cleveland area. And one of my favorite blog sites in the city is I'mFromCleveland.com. And I'm very excited to introduce to you today John Stursa, creator and owner of I'mFromCleveland.com, which is Cleveland's premier hip-hop blog site. And we're very excited to have him. John, how you doing today?
I'm good, man. How about you? I appreciate those words.
Oh, dude, I love what you do with the site, and I love your branding. I want to get into all of that as we go. You're a young guy, man, and I met you a few years ago, so I think I must have met you when you were like 13. Like, when did you start? When did you start? I'm from Cleveland. You were so young.
Yeah, so I'm from Cleveland started actually in 2010. Before that, I had a YouTube channel. So it was kind of like a transition from the YouTube channel into making a website where we could do like more with it.
Yeah.
The YouTube channel I was running by myself, and then EV came along, found out what I was doing, liked it, had me reach out to him, and then from there we had the idea to create I'mFromCleveland.com together.
What I've always loved about that, and you mentioned DJ EV from Cleveland, who does stuff for iHeartRadio and all over the country as well, but always does things for the city. But what I love about I'm From Cleveland is that it's always been a group of guys that are friends and kind of tastemakers around the city that came together to do that. Of course, EV got involved with that. How did you go from just a guy with a YouTube channel and a blog to being a tastemaker and an influencer in the hip-hop industry in Cleveland?
Yeah, I would say if I'm looking at it from the very beginning, it was like an accident kind of, because I was just enjoying, uploading these songs to YouTube and seeing that they were getting a few thousand views and stuff. And so I kept doing that. And then eventually, like I said, the website came along, and over time, people just kind of started showing that they trusted our opinion on music. And just they would ask me, hey, what do you think of this song? Eventually, hey, I'll pay you to do this for to get my song in the hands of these people or to post my song, whatever. So it kind of just happened naturally after just getting myself involved. And the more I got involved, the more trust I had from people and just the relationships that I was able to build. So
absolutely. How are you able to discern artists that you want to work with and promote on the site and music that you really feel represents a certain quality in Cleveland versus those that maybe aren't as good a quality, but they want to pay you for it and they want to just buy space on the site? Do you have, what's the commitment level an artist has to have to be involved with I'mFromCleveland.com?
Yeah. So anyone can submit their music. And we check out everything that's sent to us. But the way that I look at a lot of what we post is, one, like how big are their accomplishments, how high quality is the music, which obviously is subjective. And so when it comes to that, especially when I work on bigger projects, if we're doing lists at the end of the year, which we usually do, or things like that, I actually hit up people that are in the industry and people that I've had relationships with, and I kind of send them where we're at with the project, so I can say hey, are we missing anything here? Anything obvious, or maybe there's something that we totally missed that we don't know about. And I think that's one of the major things that we need to continue doing, because it can't just all be coming from one person. We have the relationships to where I know people are seeing what's going on, and those are the people that send us stuff a lot of times when they see that it's happening. So that just allows us to know hey, these big moves are going on. But like I said, anyone can send in their music. We check everything out, and as far as quality, it's subjective, but one thing I really like showcasing is when artists are working with other national artists. And if they're on tour with other artists, they're producing for their albums and projects or anything like that. So
I watch, especially on the social media. I'm a pretty connected guy. I know a couple people. I keep in touch with things.
Yeah.
you have everything 5 minutes after it happened. Like if there's people collaborating in a studio 2,000 miles away, you guys have the picture before it even goes up. How are you able to get your content so quickly, and how do you keep your finger on the pulse of all of these Cleveland artists, which there's a multitude of them now?
Yeah.
How are you able to keep up with content? It always amazes me how quickly you have everything up.
Yeah, I mean, so that goes back from that's always been something that I've strived to do is to make sure that not only are we providing updates, but like that they're on time, and usually that they're like really on time. Like as
Yeah.
you said, like sometimes it'll be 5 minutes after something happens, and so that just requires like us checking up on things a lot, and also, as I mentioned, a lot of times that stuff's being sent to us by like that artist management or the artist themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why we're able to see things like in real time. But it helps having that. I have a team of people that are also looking like I am. I'm scrolling a lot, you know, and I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing anything. So I make sure that if I see something I like, I save it, and I might not be posting it right away, but it'll get up if it's dope.
It's always awesome to watch what you do with that. I love that. Branding is so big with what you do as well. You've got an iconic logo now. It's a flag logo that I see everywhere. You know, it's been on flags and everything else, like at all the big music festivals. I see it everywhere. Tell me about your brand and how you came up with that logo concept and the I'm from Cleveland, you know, just the concept behind what you're doing.
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny because when we first got the design for the flag, we were given a few different versions of a logo, a new logo, and that was when we were launching a new rebrand.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really like the flag at first; it had to grow on me. And yeah, I know, right?
I liked it the first time I saw it. I'm like, that's awesome. I want it everywhere.
Yeah, so I had to have that conversation with like a few people, you know, especially EV. Like me and him had talked about it and stuff, but you know, we ended up going with it. And this is my only tattoo right here.
I love it.
So I like it enough now to where it's my only tattoo. But yeah, we kind of gave the graphic designer free range to kind of just give us some ideas, and that was the one that we went with.
Yeah.
But like as you mentioned, now that I like it a lot, and I've gotten really good, you know, feedback on it, and we know that it's working.
Yeah.
We try to get it where we can, and as you mentioned, like we have a full size flag of it made. So we had that at like EST Fest and a couple other events that we pulled up to where we set up like our merch table and stuff. So, I mean, yeah, we're really trying to make sure just people are seeing us. And if we're not doing something online, you know, we want to bring that to the people and where these hip hop events and things are already going on. So
one of the things that I mentioned on the top 10 web designs in Cleveland blog that I wrote is the Cleveland rooted playlist that you have, which I think is really cool too. It's an opportunity for people that aren't familiar with some of the newer artists in the city to go right to your website. There's a Spotify playlist right on the site, you know, Cleveland rooted, that has all kinds of new songs that are coming out, new acts. Who curates that list? Are you doing that yourself, or again, is it kind of your collection of people that you have working around that suggest songs? Who takes care of the curation of that playlist?
Yeah, actually, so my guy Pat, he helps with I'm from Cleveland, so he's pretty much in charge of the Spotify playlist. Like he'll run it by me, and like I give my suggestions and things like that. And pretty much like we do everything else, I still try and get other opinions, but Pat is the guy that's in charge of that. So salute to him. And he hit me up and he was like, "Yo, they mentioned my playlist in that video." Like he was pumped. So,
that's awesome. Well, I think it's really cool. Another thing that I mentioned is, you know, Cleveland is the rock and roll city.
Yeah.
And now, you know, hip hop, there's a lot of artists right now that are kind of making their way through the ranks. Q Money is having a great run right now. YFL Kelvin just released a song with Def Jam. So it's kind of turning the shift in Cleveland from rock and roll to kind of a hip hop thing. What would you like to be your legacy and the I'm from Cleveland legacy as it relates to that transition from rock to hip hop and that becoming the soundtrack of the city?
Mm-hmm. Well, I know that we are very music focused, but we've dabbled here and there with getting other things in, so like sports and things like that. But as far as the music goes specifically, I want to. It's always been my end goal to help artists. So if we can create a platform where artists can use us to when they release music or they have really big news and stuff like that, and we can help continue to build exclusive content for them, then it'll be a way for us to kind of help get them seen, but also to connect them with people that we know. Sure. One of the biggest things is that People will talk about how many followers people have, especially like a media outlet and things like that. But I don't only look at that. I look at who's following us, you know.
Right.
And there's very, very notable people, whether it's people at labels or just big artists that are signed to labels. People
Bro, you're
that
getting
are
retweets from LeBron. Like I've seen it numerous times where LeBron is that nobody gets retweets from LeBron.
no one does.
I don't think his wife even gets retweets from him most of the time. Like that's
we
crazy.
got it one time. But like aside from that, like when Kid Cudi actually followed people on Twitter, he followed us. You know, MGK told me like he gets hip to new people just from watching our page like all the time.
Absolutely.
And, but aside from that, like labels, DJs, other producers, I've had producers that are out in LA working with the game hit me up and say, "Hey, who's this guy?" Some random guy. And I link him up, you know. And so you never know from if you're getting posted on there if someone might see you, someone might ask just what's up with this guy, and it happened. And so that's what I kind of I want to do. I want to help connect people. I want the world to see what we have, and so that we can be like, hey, like you should start working with them, put them on, you know.
Absolutely. Well, I'm a big fan of you and the team and what you guys are putting out. What's next for the I'm From Cleveland team? What do you got coming up?
So I think 2019 we're going to be transitioning into a lot of different things. Probably a lot more physical presence at like events and things like that, so we can get our logo. More exclusive content. I know that this year we just started doing our interview series, but I'm going to actually be in Cleveland, so I've been out in Lorraine. But it's going to make it like 10 times easier for me to do anything. So I think 2019 for me personally, and to be able to try and lead something is going to be huge for us. And I don't want to give away all of our plans, but we have plans. So
I'm sure you do. You always have a plan.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming through. Congratulations on the recognition. It's well earned for you to be one of the top 10 website designs in Cleveland from Company 119. I appreciate you taking the time. I know it's an early morning for you, so I appreciate you waking up with the birds this morning to talk to us.
I need to get up. So.
John Stursa, I'm from Cleveland.com. I appreciate you joining us, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So there it is. That's the way you brand. And a lot of times great content starts with your passion, what you're interested in, what you're getting into. It doesn't all, necessarily have to be this, crazy reach for you. It can be organic, stemming from what you know about and what you're passionate about. And you never know what kind of influence you're going to have on the city based on that. Make sure you go to the blog, company119/dispatch, and check out the top 10 website designs in Cleveland. And now we hope that you've learned more about branding and the hip-hop scene in Cleveland before you finish your first cup of coffee than your competition will all day. We'll see you soon.